Hey everybody, welcome back to Auto Scholar with Mr. B. I'm Mr. B and this is video 2 of Project Beater that we're working on here on the channel. This is our lovely 2011 Honda Fit and we are getting it reconditioned to give to one of the members of my family who is desperately needing a reliable, economical car. So today we are upgrading the radio, which is a stock base model radio, to something a little bit more nicer. And I ordered this radio on Amazon. It was $150 when I ordered it. And I will put the link down in the description of the radio. But this is a Droid operated radio. So it's got the big screen, almost like a Tesla, that we're putting in this. And the family member that I'm giving this to is kind of technologically savvy. So I figured it'd be something pretty cool to add. Plus we also get Apple Play, Droid Play, whatever Droid calls their Apple Play. We get that as well. We get a GPS system as well, and a couple of other cool features like Bluetooth and hands-free calling and things like that you just pretty much need in a modern vehicle right now. So I'm going to walk over to the bench and I'm going to show you the radio, and then we'll take out the old one, put the new one in, and just see what happens. Okay, so here is the radio I ordered. Again, $150 on Amazon. You can probably find it cheaper elsewhere, but this is just where I got it from. And this is a whole Droid tablet that is attached to this panel. And this panel matches the factory panel that goes in the car. So this is supposed to be plug and play, but I rarely find things like this are plug and play. So this is the harness here that plugs into the car and the radio itself. It also has an antenna adapter as well for it for the Honda. We also have this plug here. I'm not quite sure what this is. This may go to something else that goes to this that we don't have. And this is all our AV stuff right here for if we want to put an external amp in, external cameras, external microphones, anything like that. And then it also comes with 2 USBs that you can plug your cell phone in, which is kind of nice. This is your GPS antenna, which we'll put that on the dash. And it comes with a user manual that tells you just about nothing. So this doesn't really tell you anything about this, so we are going to have to wing it. So let's go ahead and get the old radio out and start looking and seeing what we got back there so we can install this new radio. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is there's a panel right here that needs to come off. So what I do is I take just my little stubby screwdriver underneath here. You can have a trim tool or something like that, and it'll work as well. And then I just work this panel off right here and just set that off to the side. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to take this glove box and we're going to pull it down. Everything's going to fall out of it, which is fine. And there is a bolt up in here that we have to take off, and we access it through here. It's an 8mm bolt. Let me see if I can grab the camera and show you guys. So coming in from the glove box, the bolt is hard to see. It's right here on this, and it's a little bit further down there. It's an 8mm or a 5/16, and you want to bring a extension on an 8mm and go up through here to grab that bolt, and right through here, and that bolt pretty much holds in the whole carriage for this. And it's really hard to see, and I'm sorry guys, you can see that shiny point right there. That's where that bolt is. There's a little hole underneath here that is just to the passenger side of the fresh air vent control lever, and that hole is for this bolt to come out. So you don't have to take the fresh air lever out, and once you get it off, it'll come right out. After that, what we're going to do is we're going to open this little glove box here, top glove box. And in this top glove box, you're going to see a slot right here. And this is going to be your pry slot to get all these clips out from around here. Once we pop this loose, we're just going to keep working this around. The vents will come out with it. We'll transfer that to a new part. Just slow and easy. These edges are a little sharp, so be careful. This one's in there pretty good. You don't want to pry against the dash. There we go. Then you'll be able to pull this out just enough to get to the electrical connections in the back to remove. And at this point, we're just going to reach back there and start unplugging things. All of these things, one of these has a lever that goes to the side to unplug. The rest of them just have tabs. You may need to use a screwdriver just to pop them loose. You want to unplug the hazard light switch, the passenger airbag switch button light thing. And again, you just may have to finagle with it. Don't drag it across the bottom of the dash because you'll scratch it up. It's a little difficult to get the camera back here to show you guys this. So the two white ones just kind of plug into each other. You actually don't have to take that off. Okay, so once we get this out, we have to transfer some things over to the new unit, and the vents need to come out. So we have Phillips head screws around here. The vents come out first, and then we have our two buttons that come through here. Actually, this one isn't a button. The brown one here is our airbag, the passenger airbag light. It tells the driver if the passenger airbag is active. And there is not a hole on this new system for that. So what we're going to do is we're just going to plug this into the connector it came out of and just stick it behind the radio. It's not really that important to have anyway, but if you don't plug this back in, there is a chance that you will get an airbag light on for that being unplugged. So this is our hazard light switch or our four-way flasher. We're going to take this out as well. And so first comes out the vents, then this stuff, and then this stuff goes in first, and then put the vents, because the vents actually go over this area here. So we'll go ahead and take those out, transfer those to the new pieces, and then we are going to go on with the installation. So here are all the parts installed. We have our hazard lights and our vents back in there. Also, just a pro tip, there's a screen protector on here for shipping right here. Leave that on until we have everything installed and everything's working, because you know, you don't want to scratch this up during install. And then we, of course, we have this airbag light that we have to plug in, and we'll just zip tie this somewhere to the inside of the dash. That way we don't get an airbag light, because it's not going to fit on this hole. The hole's not there. So that's just one little kind of modification we have to do on this. But let's go ahead and take a look at some of the other things that we're going to have to do, because we have some things that have to be plugged into the outside of the dash for this system to work. Okay, for our GPS sensor that we have for the GPS style apps that we can run on this system, I'm going to lay this in almost like we used to do satellite radio. If you've ever installed Sirius or something like that, this is pretty much the same. We're going to mount this right here where it's in view of the sky, and we're going to run this wire underneath this panel right here. So I'm going to take this pillar out, trim out here. It just pries out, should. And then we're going to run it through here, and there is a spot right here. We're going to run it underneath all this, and we're going to bring it out right here and plug it into the radio. So that's going to take a little time. Now, there's also two USBs on this that we can put in, and the factory puts in a USB in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this USB out. It's not going to work anyway since we don't have the factory radio, and I'm just going to put the regular USB from the radio in here, and then the second one I'm going to put underneath here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this plate that we have, and I'm going to notch the back end. I'll just take a grinder and just notch this. That way the cable has enough room to run out of here. That way he can plug in his cell phone and put his cell phone right there, and it's out of sight. And we still got full functionality of the radio when we get it in. So this will be probably the closest thing to a factory install that we can do with this situation. And so that's going to take a little time, but A-pillar out, running the wire in through there, and just make sure that this wiring gets zip tied to something underneath here. That way it doesn't get hung up in the glove box mechanism or anything like that, or gets hung on anything and it doesn't vibrate loose. You just want this to be as professional as possible. So what I did for this second one here is I took this piece out. This goes in the corner, and it's got this rubber plug in it that's actually bonded to the wiring. That the factory USB, this is actually the replacement USB. And I cut this with a razor blade across and removed this plug and just wrapped it around the new wire, popped it back in. And that being said, I mean, this is about as factory as you're going to get right here. That looks exactly like the factory plug. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this cable here, right there, and I'm going to run it down the bottom to come out here to plug into the radio. So here is where I position the GPS sensor right here. And you just want to make sure that it has a clear view of the sky through the windshield, because that's how it works. And I just put this wire forward, ran it through the cowl, and let's see here. On the other end, get the focus here. Other end, I just ran it down here after removing this A-pillar trim. Down there, ran it through there, and then it's going to come out here, and you're going to have a lot of extra cable. So what I've done is you don't want to just shove this back in here again. You know, we're trying to be more professional. So I've zip tied this together, and I'm going to zip tie that back there to something to kind of tuck it out of the way. And then we have this connector right here that goes to the GPS port on the radio. So got the USB right here, factory location. And this is a 4-pin USB I put out here. So we have two USBs. We have a 4-pin, and then this is the 6-pin right here. And that runs right underneath here. And you don't have to have a whole huge amount of this hanging out, because you're going to plug your phone charger cable to this as well. And so you'll have, you know, a pretty good size cable going from here. And you just plug it in. You can set it in this little cubby hole right there. And all I did was I just took a grinder and I just notched this area out a little bit, just to give the room for the cable to come through and not chafe everything up. So the other mod I did here was, this is the light for the airbag. And so what I did is I just pushed it back here and zip tied it to the wiring harness. And this of course goes to your 4-way flasher. Then you have, this is your main plug right here. It plugs directly into the wiring harness going to the radio. And you have this right here, which is your antenna. They make an adapter. It comes with the kit that plugs in here and plugs into the back of the radio. So now with all this set, we are ready to actually put the radio in. A lot of work, but again, you want it to be professional. You don't want squeaks, rattles, the wiring getting tangled up into anything down here, and you want a professional look. So back to the radio, I went ahead and plugged this harness in. This is going to go to the gray harness inside the car. This is going to go to the antenna for the car. And then this right here is going to plug over into this hole here. So you plug your antenna harness in here. This is for your, if you've got an amp or any type of camera or anything, then you have these right here. This is for the brake, probably to the emergency brake light that activates that wire there. I'm not sure if we're going to need to use that or not. We're going to see. This is for a backup camera if you want to put a backup camera in here, which I'm not opting to do that at this moment. So this is going to be where we plug our GPS wire that we ran in. So we've got everything, and of course you're going to have to plug this 4-way flasher back in. So let's go ahead and get it plugged up. And all this does is just click back into place. It doesn't have a spot for that bolt that we took out for the first step of this, so you'll need to omit that step going back in. So just calm, easy. Before you push this in, what I like to do is just turn on the system and make sure everything's working. There is some instructions in here if you have steering wheel controls, that this kind of adapts to the steering wheel controls. You can program it for that. However, we do not have steering wheel controls on this vehicle, so we're not going to need to use that. But if you have something a higher end, there is some instructions here on steering wheel control. So let's go ahead and plug this up. I'm not going to press it all the way in. I'm just going to plug this up, and we're going to see exactly what we got. Okay, so one thing I found, I'm in the middle of hooking this up, and I found out this is the antenna wire that is coming out. And you see you have 2 small pins and a square. And this is the plug-in, and it's a circle plug-in. So this is not the correct antenna adapter for AM/FM antenna. So I'm going to try to find a workaround, but I'm going to go ahead and see if everything else works outside of the radio. And if I find a solution to this, then I'll post it in the description of the video. Okay, so I have this just sitting here. It's not clicked in yet. Let's see. First crank up here, and we've got something. So we got really almost no instructions with this at all. So let's see if we go to apps here. I don't know if we can download apps in here. I don't know anything about this. But so let's see. Probably have to hook it to some Wi-Fi somewhere, I would imagine. Yeah, so let me play around with it a little bit, and I'll show y'all exactly what it can do. Let's just make sure that the sound works. I know the radio probably won't give me any signal, but so here we go. Here's the volume button here. So I don't. So yeah, the sound is actually, as you can tell, I can hear something, but it's just not going to tune in because of that antenna. So everything seems to respond. We got our home button here. Let's click to play. So it's got something loaded up on it automatically. I'm not going to play it because there's copyright issues that I might have a problem with YouTube. But let me go in here and play with the settings, and then we'll see what we got. Okay, so I went ahead and hooked this up to Wi-Fi. Basically, this is nothing but a Droid tablet, so you just have to go into the settings and hook everything up with Wi-Fi. And I've got it working pretty well. To me, the picture quality is not that great, but we didn't pay a whole lot for this, and yeah, I didn't really get it for the picture quality as well. But it looks pretty good in here, and I've got to put the rest of the car back together, but I'm pretty pleased with it. You know, I'm going to give this to my relative, and he's going to have it figured out probably better than I do. The biggest problem is there's just absolutely no instructions with this stuff that has anything to do with installation or operating this system. So, you know, there might be something online with the company that I can look deeper into to kind of figure out how everything works in here. But for now, you know, you're just gonna have to kind of go through there and look and see how this thing works on your own. Let me go ahead and get the car back together, and then I'll get a wide picture of this dash within here, and then we'll be done. Okay, so we got everything back together. Just want to go over a few pros and cons of this install here. So the pros, definitely aesthetically more pleasing than the factory radio with way more functions. And you have Bluetooth, you have all kind of things that are added to this factory radio setup that we had before. The connectors seem like they are high quality. The fit and finish of the install plate and everything seemed like it really worked pretty well. I didn't have to drill anything. I didn't have to go crazy with any modifications like sometimes these kind of cheaper aftermarket parts have from Amazon or eBay. But there were some cons as well. So biggest con to me is the antenna adapter is not the right one for this vehicle. And I'm going to research that. I'm going to try to find another adapter. And if I do, I'll put that down below in the description. I think if you just got a regular adapter for a regular radio, plug that into the antenna and then plug that into the new radio, I think you'll be fine. But I'm going to do a little research and let you know. Also, absolutely no instructions when it comes to the functionality of this unit. So really, it's going to take some time going through there and figuring out how this works. And I'm going to leave that up to the person that finally ends up with this vehicle. He is a computer nerd, and he'll be able to tell how to do everything on this pretty quickly. So sound quality was pretty good, at least match factory sound quality. So I believe we're not going to have any issues with sound quality. And so I give it probably 6 or 7 stars out of 10 stars for the unit itself. And again, I've got that. It's going to be down in the description, and I'll make it the first comment for the Amazon link for that unit. They do have a lot of different ones on there, so you may have better luck with a different one. But I just went off of the reviews of this unit. I've never heard of the company or anything like that. When it came to me, it came in a cardboard box, nothing on the front, so it's not like they pulled it off a store shelf and sent it to me. This is something that's definitely made for export to other countries. But the instructions that it does have for how like the steering wheel controls work, it's not in very good English, so you can kind of tell it's just kind of a run-of-the-mill Chinese product. But other than that, I'm pretty satisfied. So if you like what you see, please give me a like and of course subscribe to the channel. We're going to start a whole series on this vehicle, getting it back into shape, and then we'll do a reveal to my relative that's getting the vehicle and get a reaction off of that. So you'll see all of our hard work, what it goes to. So I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, VK. You can find me there under Auto Scholar with Mr. B or Master Tech Mr. B. And we'll see you next time on Auto Scholar with Mr. B.